Madrid repeatedly delivers dramatic late-game comebacks. This isn't luck. It's directly connected to Carlo Ancelotti's management philosophy. Today, we'll reveal the secret behind Madrid's remarkable resilience, how his approach of empowering rather than controlling players has helped him claim 15 trophies, making him Madrid's most successful manager ever, despite being considered tactically inferior to his peers. Imagine getting fired from one of the world's biggest football clubs, only to return years later and become their most successful manager ever. This remarkable turnaround perfectly describes Carlo Ancelotti's journey at Real Madrid. In December 2024, Ancelotti cemented his legacy by winning his 15th trophy with the Spanish Giants, finally surpassing Miguel Muñoz's 14-trophy record that had stood untouched for over 5 decades. Ancelotti's Madrid story is a tale of resilience and redemption. During his first spell from 2013 to 2015, he delivered Madrid's 10th Champions League title, along with the Copa del Rey, UEFA Super Cup, and Club World Cup. Despite these achievements, he was dismissed after his second season ended without major trophies. Club president Florentino Perez cited the need for a new impulse, the classic Madrid response when results fall short of expectations, regardless of previous success. The Italian's journey continued with varying success at Bayern Munich and Napoli before he settled at mid-table Everton. Then in 2021, when Zinedine Zidane resigned, Madrid made the surprising decision to bring back their former manager. This appointment contradicted the club's typical pursuit of rising coaching stars, yet proved to be a masterstroke that would redefine Madrid's modern era. Since his return, Ancelotti has transformed criticism into triumph, adding 10 more trophies to his collection. His efficiency stands as the most remarkable aspect of his achievement. While Muñoz needed 605 matches to secure 14 trophies, Ancelotti reached 15 in just 316 games, collecting silverware at more than double the rate of his predecessor. This statistical dominance reflects Ancelotti's approach, where results consistently take precedence over rigid tactical principles. Ancelotti's complete trophy cabinet now includes 3 Champions Leagues, 2 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Reys, 2 Spanish Super Copas, 3 UEFA Super Cups, 2 Club World Cups, and the Intercontinental Cup. His success represents a fascinating counter to modern football's tactical obsessions. In an era dominated by pressing specialists like Jurgen Klopp and possession masters like Pep, Madrid chose a manager valued for man management skills rather than tactical innovations. Ancelotti's philosophical approach, captured in his famous quote that "football is the most important of the less important things in life," allows him to connect with players as people first, professionals second. This approach to man management has allowed him to manage some of the biggest egos in world football. Behind the glittering success of Ancelotti's Madrid lies a challenge that has derailed countless managerial careers. The club's dressing room represents perhaps football's most complex environment, a place where multiple Ballon d'Or winners and national team captains coexist, each with their own expectations, ambitions, and substantial egos. While Ancelotti's framework has proven effective, the graveyard of his predecessors reveals why managing this collection of personalities might be the sport's most impossible job. The history of managing Madrid reveals a recurring theme. Exceptional coaching credentials alone cannot overcome the challenge of managing football's biggest stars. Rafa Benitez's conflict with Cristiano Ronaldo created friction that contributed to his dismissal, while Jose Mourinho found himself embroiled in destructive feuds with club legends, fostering a toxic atmosphere that undermined team cohesion and left fractured relationships that took years to repair. Managing Real Madrid is like conducting a symphony with a diverse orchestra. Each musician plays a unique instrument. The manager's role is to harmonize their individual talents, balancing the powerful crescendos of ego with the subtle nuances of teamwork, ensuring that, together, they create a masterpiece on the pitch. This dynamic explains why the post-Ronaldo transition proved so difficult for successors who failed to balance integrating new stars while maintaining veterans' respect. The Madrid squad presents unique complexity because these players are global brands with commercial interests and career aspirations that operate independently from team objectives. A player's sponsorship commitments, social media presence, and personal brand management can compete with their football responsibilities, requiring extraordinary management skills. Fan and media pressure compounds these difficulties. Madrid supporters demand consistent victories delivered with aesthetically pleasing football that upholds the club's attacking traditions. This combination creates an environment where results alone are insufficient. The style of victory matters equally. One poor performance triggers waves of criticism, regardless of previous accomplishments. Ancelotti's genius lies in his approach to these complex dynamics. Rather than forcing stars into rigid tactical systems, a strategy that repeatedly created resistance, He builds genuine relationships based on trust and respect. This player-first mentality becomes evident in how he handled Ronaldo, allowing his star the freedom to excel while strengthening team cohesion simultaneously. This relationship-centered management extends to his current squad. Mbappe has expressed appreciation for the freedom Ancelotti provides, allowing self-expression without excessive tactical constraints. This approach contrasts with managers who view stars as pieces to fit into predetermined systems, rather than exceptional talents to showcase. Ancelotti establishes a framework flexible enough to accommodate individual brilliance while maintaining sufficient cohesion to compete at the highest level. This balance proves particularly effective with players accustomed to being the focal point of their national teams, who must adjust to sharing the spotlight at club level. When managing multiple players who consider themselves the main character, traditional authoritarian coaching frequently fails. Ancelotti's success comes from making these stars feel valued without compromising team objectives, creating an environment where individual and collective success become mutually reinforcing rather than competing priorities. So once the players are on side, how does he actually get them to deliver results on the pitch? What lies beyond the relationship-building approach of Ancelotti is a tactical philosophy that directly contradicts modern football's obsession with rigid systems. While many coaches plot every movement and assign specific zones to each player, Ancelotti offers something radically different. His revolutionary concepts suggest that perhaps the game's greatest talents perform best when granted freedom rather than restriction, an approach once dismissed as tactical negligence that now reveals itself as calculated brilliance. If you ask me how we played the final in Paris, 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, I will tell you I do not know. This startling admission from Ancelotti about the 2022 Champions League final against Liverpool perfectly captures his unconventional approach. Where tactical purists see chaos, Ancelotti sees opportunity, a philosophy developed through decades of experience, where talent trumps rigidity. This approach stands in stark contrast to the current coaching landscape. Pep Guardiola's positional play dictates precise movements and passing lanes. Klopp's gegenpressing demands synchronized pressing triggers. Modern football embraces the coach as chess master, moving players across a tactical board with methodical precision. Ancelotti's method, by comparison, operates more like freeform jazz against his contemporaries' classical symphonies, allowing spontaneous creation within a loose framework. Ancelotti's philosophy emerged from experience. Early in his coaching career at Parma, he rejected Roberto Baggio simply because the Italian star didn't fit his rigid 4-4-2 system. This mistake transformed his approach. Superior talent should shape the system, not be rejected by it. Critics label Ancelotti as tactically inferior, pointing to his lack of a defined playing style. They argue that while Guardiola revolutionized positional play and Klopp perfected counter-pressing, Ancelotti has contributed no comparable tactical legacy. Yet what these critics miss is the sophisticated understanding behind his approach. At Madrid, this philosophy manifests in freedoms that would be unthinkable under more dogmatic coaches. The front three of Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo and Mbappe create defensive confusion by generating offensive opportunities through their fluid movement. This fluidity extends throughout the team, with players encouraged to interpret spaces rather than occupy predetermined zones. The mistake that the new generation of coaches make is giving too much information to the players in the game with the ball. This takes away creativity, Ancelotti explains, articulating a philosophy that prioritizes player expression over coach control. This approach acknowledges that elite players often possess situational awareness that exceeds any tactical plan. The contrast with coaches like Guardiola becomes evident in training methods, where Ancelotti creates environments for players to express themselves. Guardiola has placed cones on training pitches to restrict wingers to specific zones, a literal boundary-setting approach. One constrains genius to a system, the other allows the system to emerge from genius. What appears as tactical indifference actually represents a sophisticated understanding of football psychology. By removing excessive constraints, Ancelotti creates an environment where players feel empowered rather than restricted. This approach particularly suits Real Madrid, where world-class talent respond better to guidance than instruction. The brilliance of Ancelotti's approach lies in its paradox. By doing less tactically, he accomplishes more. Players who feel trusted discover solutions no tactical board could ever depict. His apparent tactical negligence is actually deep tactical wisdom, recognizing when to impose structure and when to let talent flourish. This tactical wisdom manifests most dramatically in the final minutes of crucial matches, where Real Madrid has developed an almost supernatural ability to snatch victory from defeat. When most teams crumble under pressure, Madrid thrives, particularly in Champions League knockout stages, where they've produced some of football's most remarkable comebacks. This pattern is so consistent that opponents often seem psychologically defeated before the final whistle, even when leading against Madrid. The 2022 Champions League semi-final against Manchester City exemplifies this phenomenon perfectly. With the 90th minute ticking away and elimination seemingly inevitable, Rodrigo struck once in the 90th minute, again just 60 seconds later. The stadium erupted as Manchester City players stood frozen, hands on heads. When Benzema coolly converted the decisive penalty in extra time, the transformation was complete. This comeback represents Ancelotti's philosophy in its purest form, calculated resilience rather than desperate hope. Madrid has replicated this pattern throughout their European campaigns. Against PSG in the round of 16 that same season, Benzema's hat-trick overturned a significant deficit. The quarter-final against Chelsea followed a similar script, but what makes this calm so contagious in moments of crisis? While spectators attribute these comebacks to luck, or the mystical magic of the Bernabeu, or Ancelotti's eyebrow, careful analysis reveals systematic principles in Ancelotti's approach. Throughout high-pressure situations, the Italian remains noticeably calm. No frantic gestures, no desperate shouting, just that trademark raised eyebrow as chaos unfolds. This composure isn't merely personal temperament, it's strategic. When managers panic, players inevitably absorb that anxiety. Ancelotti's tranquility amid turmoil functions as a psychological anchor, signaling confidence that solutions exist and will be found. It contrasts sharply with modern coaches who micromanage every movement as pressure intensifies. The psychological impact materializes in how Madrid performs when facing elimination. Rather than becoming conservative and rigid, they play with greater freedom and creativity in the closing minutes. During the Chelsea comeback, this manifested when Ancelotti allowed Rodrigo to abandon his right-wing position to create dangerous overloads alongside Vinicius Jr. on the left. This flexibility confused Chelsea's defence and generated crucial scoring opportunities. This approach represents a calculated risk that many managers wouldn't take. While most coaches tighten control during crucial moments to minimize mistakes, Ancelotti increases player autonomy when pressure peaks. Madrid's players function as problem solvers who identify and exploit weaknesses in real time rather than mere executors of tactical instructions. Players who feel trusted perform with heightened confidence in critical moments. When initial plans falter, Madrid transitions fluidly to alternatives, creating the impression of inexhaustible tactical options. Each comeback reinforces the collective belief that no situation remains insurmountable. This psychological advantage becomes particularly potent in knockout competitions, where opposition teams face not only 11 Madrid players, but also the accumulated weight of this belief, the living embodiment of Ancelotti's trust in player intelligence when stakes are highest. In many ways, Ancelotti's approach represents a counter-movement to modern football's tactical revolution. His philosophy challenges the prevailing notion that managers must micromanage through rigid systems. Instead, his unprecedented success at Madrid reveals the profound wisdom of knowing when stepping back unlocks player potential. What makes this approach effective is how it creates space for natural talent to flourish. As Carlo aptly noted, Ancelotti's strength lies in his ability to manage rather than imposing constraints that stifle creativity, contributing to Madrid's remarkable resilience. Ancelotti's legacy offers an alternative vision, one where trust in player intelligence becomes a sophisticated tactical choice. Will this player empowerment model reshape football's future in an era of structured systems? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.